What up? Um, if you hear anything in the background that sounds like water, it is because currently I have a baby monitor uh, that is closer than normal because we got a new one. The old one was not working out so well. Uh, yeah, so welcome to For the Parents, where we're going to talk about our first time during COVID traveling with kids to Alaska from here. And Sam is currently MIA because Kai woke up right after, or like not right after, right before it was time to start streaming. So she might be a little bit later. But that leaves me, and I am here, and I am going to do my best to have a well rounded opinion of the thoughts and facts that have happened throughout the trip. And there's no way that I will be able to be Sam because you know how different we are in the best way possible. So I just had a note I wanted to look at for this specific topic. So this is part one. I feel like I wanted to break it down into two parts because I felt like we were there for 2 weeks and there's a lot of things that we can unpack with it, and like none of them were like too bad, but it's just like all of them together were like pretty overwhelming. So the first things that I felt like would be really cool to talk about were managing exhaustion, sleep schedules, and overwhelm and expectations of children. Like when you talk about vacation versus what happens, um, when they're at an age where that actually is a thing that happens. So, I guess I could just start off by talking about the trip. So we left on a Friday to Sam's parents' house because they live closer to the airport than we do, and spent the day there. And then the next day, they took us to the airport in the morning. So I think our plane was leaving at like 11:30 maybe. We got to the airport around 9. So hello.
Hey,
Um, and so I started,
go forth.
and I'm at the start of our trip of when we
Yeah,
got
okay.
to the airport.
Checked my notes and I didn't see what.
Oh, yeah, but
So
yeah, I was like weaving those through.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
talked about those points. Like, not I didn't talk about them. I like
I
mentioned.
mean, I just want to. I'm so out of it.
No,
The thing that happened. I just want to
yeah.
touch like the thing that happened right now. The thing that happened just now. So Jesse went on an errand and Kai started crying. So I came inside
Uh huh.
to get him. And normally, like, I just burped him because I thought he needed to be burped, which he did. But then he like started crying a little bit more, so I left. And then I was watching them on the monitor, watching Ollie on the monitor, and he started crying. So then I went back in, and it was like Kai was crying and Ollie was crying, and I
Yeah.
couldn't leave one or the other, even after Ollie was like calm
Really? Did he
because
get
he was
his
like awake still.
pacifier
Yeah.
thing? Yeah.
He was like still awake, and I couldn't just leave. And so it was good that you came back when you did because,
Mm-hmm.
and then Kai took forever again, and I just don't know what's going on with him that he's doing that
Yeah, he's
to us.
like I feel like normally when you fall asleep, like the first time you wake up,
Yeah, it
it's
was just
like
really hard.
like with Ollie and stuff. Like the first time you wake up, they wake up. It's like usually a lot easier to get them down.
Mm-hmm.
And then like if they're going to try to fight it, like they'll wake up more and then get less
Yeah,
and less
yeah.
tired. But like the fact that they woke up.
I don't know. It was just crazy pants for me. I didn't know what to do. Yeah. So okay, so you're just starting from the beginning of our trip and then just going. Yeah,
I
it was a
figured.
nice first the
Yeah,
way there,
we
like
just got to
first
the
part of the
airport.
journey.
In my story.
Oh, at the very
We
first
left at
time.
yeah, we left
Oh,
at like what, like 11:30? Like that's when our plane
yeah. Our
was
plane
like
left at
flying.
11:30. Mm-hmm. It was our first time flying with two kids. Ugh,
Hmm.
that was mm, 10/10. Would not recommend.
But I
But
mean the
also
first,
we will do because we like to
yeah,
travel
but
and
the
so
first, like the way there wasn't so bad. I
no, I
remember.
guess not. Yeah, the way there we
Yeah,
left like right at both of their sort of nap time and so
they were really
uh
chill.
they were super chill and
Yeah.
Kai passed out and it was as nice as traveling can be.
Well, and, like it wasn't like super easy with Ollie, but like we had enough stuff and we
Yeah.
had enough like
A fun tip for any
yeah,
parents out there who have little
which was
kids
really
who
cool.
might not know this, and if you do, like, you're on top of your game. But just go to the store or like clearance places or whatever and buy like just little silly one offs that are like cheap AF
Mm-hmm.
and put them all in a bag, and that's their plane bag. And they can't open it until they're on the plane. And at least for our son, they have to stay at least on the activity for like 10 minutes because he goes through them like they're
That's true.
like a potty trainer in undies.
Yeah,
That's all I'm
he yeah,
saying. And
he
yeah.
definitely likes to funnel through things really quickly. So, yeah, I think it works really well cuz it's like he doesn't know what's in there and he's never seen them before, but they're not like expensive things that we're like taking a big risk on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um yeah.
And we scored on one of them.
For
It
the
was
ride
like
there. Yeah.
it was like a fossil.
Yeah,
Like
like a
it's like
National
you have to
Geographic.
like excavate it out or
It had
whatever.
like a
And
digging
he
tool and like on the other end it was like a sawing
yeah.
tool and then a little brush, like kind of like a paintbrush to like brush the dust away and inside the fossil thing, the like the hardened clay rock that you're like getting through,
Yeah.
there's a fossil.
Yeah, and he didn't even finish it on the plane, but he kept
No.
and
He did that for a long
yeah.
time.
But it was a little too messy for the
It
plane.
was
So
like getting like the dust was going up because of like the HEPA
yeah,
filters and stuff
yeah.
and instead of just like staying settled.
It was
So I what I did and it helped a bit was like I used a wet wipe and
yeah.
wiped it so that it was like a little bit wet.
And like clay, and so it didn't like yeah.
It
Yeah,
didn't,
that's
and
perfect.
then I kept
yeah.
having to do that a little bit, but we
Yeah.
did make a little bit of a mess.
Yeah. So yeah, okay, and then go on.
Oh yeah, I mean I feel like that plane ride was awesome
Yeah.
compared to the last one, which is like the end of our trip. Like, but that was like I think the difference wasn't, maybe it was a little bit that they missed home and that they were like ready to be back, but I think more so is the fact that the way there it was like their nap time slash midday where they still had energy and like pizzazz, and then at the like but the other trip was like when did we leave, like 6 or 5
We left
p.m.
so our plane left at 3:30.
3:30 we
And
got
we didn't
in.
get home till 6:30, almost 7.
Uh-huh.
And they were, I mean, that
Yeah.
day they didn't go to sleep until freaking 10 o'clock at night. Fun story. What time did they wake up the next day? 7.
Which was, well, I mean, it's better than 5. Which is what it could have been. Yeah. But it was like they were just belligerent, like weird people.
And then Kai just refused to take a nap, and he was
Yeah.
already past his nap by like an hour and
Yeah.
a half, and it was like he fell asleep like facing.
Which is a really, he never falls asleep like
It
that.
was just weird, but he did,
Yeah.
and it was exhausting. It was
I know.
such an exhausting
crazy.
trip back. We even had a plane bag, and Ollie was
Ev-
so
yeah.
much more energetic and so much more
True.
like.
Well, and even though they were energetic, but they were like, what's the word? Delirious. And
Me
we were
too.
tired because we had already had a full day with them and
Yeah.
packing and everything. So I
Yeah.
I definitely prefer
In the morning, traveling in the
morning travel
yeah.
with kids. Like I love afternoon travel as like
An
a free
adult,
adult.
yeah.
Like, and working on the plane and like catching up on like media or literature or like things or like projects that I have
Yeah.
like that are computer based. Catching up on those things on the plane is like one of my favorite things to do. Like taking that as like productive work time with headphones is like I love it and I can't do that anymore.
I just like to watch movies and
But-
be on my music.
Yeah.
Because I like.
But-
I think I love plane rides
Yeah.
as an adult.
Yeah.
But with kids,
But not as a parent.
that's so hard. But
Adults
even
and
when we go
parents are
to
different
my
people.
parents live like 2 hours away, 2.5 hours away,
Hmm.
and even like we've been going to their house in the morning, and it like is a game changer, I think.
Instead of at night, or
Or
instead of
in the
like,
afternoon or
yeah,
like midday or whatever. Like we try to like
I'm gonna
have
put this
everything
down
ready the
here.
day right. Sorry. Uh, we try to get everything ready the day right before we go, and then like have just everything just be ready to
Hmm.
go, and the next day we
As
just
early as
go
we can.
as soon as they wake up,
Because then
get
they're not
ready, and we
antsy yet.
go.
They're just like grateful to be awake. I feel
Yeah,
like the same with Kai. Like
yeah,
it's so funny. Kai hates his pin. His like where it's like his safe pin where we
yeah,
can put him to go to the bathroom or do something important.
yeah.
Like you put him down and he just starts scream crying.
Scream crying.
But in the morning he's just like, "Oh, this isn't fun." But at least I'm not sleeping.
Yeah, I mean, I think he scream cries for me too. But if I put him in like
In the morning.
the way that I have our pen set up, I'm gonna send a picture. I'm gonna put a picture on our social medias and stuff. You can see it. Um, but it's like a big, I want to say hamster cage. There's like an area that's like where the like safe pen, and then I made a little like walkway sort of to like the bigger toy area, and then we like
Close
cordon
the
that off with a huge
walkway beanbag.
beanbag chair. And if you put him in the big area with like all of Ollie's toys too, oh, he's fine. If you try to put him in his pen, even though he can easily crawl over,
Uh-huh.
he's not fine.
It's
He's
true.
not fine.
That
It's
is true.
not fine.
Not all right.
Yeah.
If anyone gets that.
No,
It's
I don't.
really
I don't
obscure
even. I don't even.
reference.
It is like
Anyway.
no. I
Um,
literally
don't
just said I don't.
what's the keyboard player guy?
Who?
Not my real dad.
Oh.
Can't run away.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But other than that, I mean, the trip was. I had like a really great time. I mean, the only headache was not being in a space that was like insanely kid proofed. That was the only headache.
Yeah. Um not the only headache, but that was the biggest daytime headache. My second biggest headache of that trip, or like just like the downside versus being at home, was their sleep schedule was like ridiculous.
I thought their sleep schedule wasn't too bad.
Really? I felt like they were going to
Yeah.
bed super late. Maybe it's just because I was like nauseous at night or something.
Maybe.
But like
Maybe.
here, they go to bed between 6 or 7. Obviously, there's an hour behind, so
I
they
think
go
there
to
was
bed.
just like a couple of rough days at the beginning, and a couple of in the middle, and a couple of and the last couple of days were like super rough.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
that's why it like tainted the trip.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're talking about Alaska and our like just preliminary thoughts on the traveling with kids.
Yeah, and but there were a lot of good nights where it was just like they were super chill, didn't wake
Hmm.
up almost at all. And so I'm just
I
hoping
don't know.
that Kai like goes back to that, cuz he for sure is my sleeper. He already, even if he wakes up a lot of times during the night right now, overall in general, he's just been a better
As
sleeper
he's
than Ollie.
starting to move.
I know, and I might have to go take care of business. But
Oh,
uh
oh.
I know, it's just insanity. He might get up.
He like I'm knocking on wood, even though this isn't like a knock on wood statement. And I may have said this before, like regardless, again, like however many times he's been waking up recently during the night, he is a far better self soother than Ollie is now. You know what I mean? Like he just developed that easier.
Mhm.
Um.
And yeah, that's another thing too, actually, because we stayed with my parents for a couple of days, and
Yeah.
then we stayed obviously with his parents for a couple of days. And yes, and grandparents are helpful in many ways.
And in other ways, they don't share our parenting style. And so it just creates rifts in in our kids' schedule, like timeline, schedule, you know what I mean?
Just what they're used to versus what
Yeah,
they're not
yeah,
to. Like
that's
I
what I'm trying
know
to say.
my dad, he loves to give Ollie candy.
I think all four of them love to give him
Uh,
candy in different ways, like
yeah,
different sugary
yeah.
things.
And it's just like not yet. I mean, or no, like it's bedtime. Like literally, we're getting him
Yeah.
ready for bed. He
Well, and
cannot have an M&M.
we rarely give him sugar. Like we were giving him like a thing per day. Like kind of like there's like the little pandas with chocolate, and like he had been like
Yeah,
really loving those, but it's like
yeah,
once a day after dinner or after lunch, where it's like that's not the only thing he's digesting, and the sugar just doesn't go straight to his bloodstream.
yeah,
But
yeah,
but like we knew going into the trip that he was gonna have cake at his both of his grandparents bought him, or like
yeah.
we had
For
cake
his
at
birthday.
both areas, and so we knew that sugar rush was coming. But then it was like every day your parents were giving him sugar, he was asking for it, like demanding it, getting
Your
more.
dad
And then we went to Alaska,
mm-hmm.
and my parents were giving him lots of different sugary things, and then
Yeah.
like he would just find them too.
I have a fun story.
Uh-huh.
So we before we left for Alaska, I don't know why Jesse and Ollie went to Costco one time, and they bought like trail mix with M&Ms in it, and I was like, I'm just gonna like dilute the M&Ms so that there's more trail mix than not, and like stick a whole bunch of other stuff in it, and then Ollie discovered the trail mix M&Ms, and at first he was eating all of the trail mix, and then he like started sneaking only the M&Ms.
Yeah.
But do you know what I've realized? Because I was like on a chocolate kick, and I was like, why don't we have any chocolate? Obviously for obvious reasons. But he doesn't even realize that there are brown M&Ms.
Because they look like the nuts and seeds and dried fruit. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. So the trail mixes aren't completely useless to you now.
No, so I've been like going through the trail mixes
Finding all the little brown M&Ms, little camouflage treasures.
They are.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I have been, and
That's so funny.
he has yet to notice.
That is so funny.
Yeah, I was pretty excited about that.
But yeah, sugar was a lot to handle.
Yeah.
I think, like you said, the first few days when we got there was like managing their level of exhaustion.
Yeah.
Okay, this is why the entire trip, sleep-wise, felt like a struggle to me. Ollie, right before we left, started two things. The first thing he started was potty training himself, like out of nowhere.
Himself, like
Yeah.
nobody pushed him to do that.
Yeah, and
That
he
makes
was
it
just
sound like no, like we just didn't want to push him, and we wanted him to tell us when he was ready,
And,
and
like,
he
you
just
can-
chose to
yeah.
be ready now.
yeah, you can struggle through it and like kind of like quote, like force them or challenge them to do it faster, but like he was still peeing in the night a little bit, and like not a lot, but like there's just little indicators where it's like he's like semi-ready, and he goes through stages where he's like more curious and ready and less. So we were just like,
You know what I
we're not
think
gonna
it
push
made
it.
him be like more ready, or made him want to be ready, is that like he wanted to be naked a while ago.
Yeah,
I was like, no
That's-
sir, no sir. I said, if you are still wearing diapers, you cannot be naked. The minute that you don't have to wear diapers during the day, well, I didn't say during the day, but I said the minute that you don't have to wear diapers anymore, you can be as naked as the day you were born. And he took me up on that offer.
And he was like, "How do I do that?" And he was like, you gotta pee and poop in the toilet, dude. Like that's all you gotta do
And he has
consistently.
been, and he has
Yeah.
and he like, I can count on my fingers the number of accidents that he's ever had. And I
Yeah.
mean, maybe he'll have more now. I mean, I'm not saying, but I'm just saying like up until now.
Yeah,
And like when we were in Alaska, one day he was like, just didn't want to put on clothes. And you know what?
we didn't make him.
I couldn't make him because I had clearly said
Yeah,
what I had said, and I couldn't go back on that. And he knew. He
you
knew.
hijacked my story, by the way.
I'm so sorry. Go on.
The first thing was potty training. The second thing was that he started taking up naps again, like the Tuesday before we left. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, he was napping. And then like Wednesday, Thursday, he decided to start potty training. And then we got up there, and with our schedules and like the limited time we had to try to fit everything in we wanted and needed to, he barely napped. And every single freaking day he was tired enough to nap and wanted to nap, but we either like forgot the binky or we weren't home or we were home, but Kai was already in there and he'd wake up Kai and then both of them were awake. So it's like that's what made it rough, because from that point on he was just more like emotional.
That makes sense. Yeah, he was very emotional. I
And then
think
he'd get
also,
sugar every day, and
yeah.
that made that hell until bedtime. And then I had to like drag him into bed every day.
I think also just like being in a living situation where we're like living and sleeping sort of in another person's house, and
Mhm.
like especially with them being his grandparents,
Yeah.
both yours and mine. Um, it's hard for him to see, like he doesn't know what to expect. Like he's still learning. Like, oh, if I say this to Grandpa, he's gonna let
Hmm.
me. But if I say this to Nana, or if I say this to Minnie or Tho, or like he knows us, he knows what to expect,
Yeah.
but he doesn't like super know what to expect from his grandparents, like specifically yet. Even though like they haven't changed, it's just like how often he sees them and
Yeah.
things like
Yeah.
that. And so that's like
Um.
really
Yeah.
hard.
So that was managing exhaustion, like their exhaustion levels when it's like, sorry, but like this is the only time this friend can meet, and we're only gonna get to see them once or twice while we're here. So like we're going to see them. Like, sorry, bro. Like bringing him with us and everything, but he's just like passing out in the car, but like can't pass out because he doesn't want to, and there's like not that thing to put him over the edge. And then we stop to go somewhere, and he's like, "I'm awake. All right, where are we going? What's up?" Um, that
And
was
then it's
hard.
like a delirious energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
the other thing that I was just like kicking myself in the butt for was we were like we would talk about the trip so much before we left because we thought it would make him excited, and there'd be moments where like you can kind of leverage cool slash exciting things to like get out of like stressful or like really emotional situations, but like to neutralize the emotion so that you can talk about it with the kid. So it's like if like he wants to go outside and play and you're like, we can't go outside and play today, and he's like trying to like shove the door open and he's like done with life. And it's like when we go to Alaska, we're gonna be playing outside like all the time. It's gonna be amazing. So you know what I mean? Like it's like we used that card too much, and so like I feel like he just built up this expectation in Alaska that we pretty much met. But it's just like even things we didn't talk about. You know, like he's probably in his mind being like, oh my gosh, like it's outside. Like they probably have like an even bigger trampoline or an even bigger like jungle gym, and they like you get there and it's like just flat land, and like it's cool and all, but like I bet he had so many expectations in his head because for like weeks and weeks after, like before, we
Mhm.
were like, we're going to Alaska, we're gonna go to your grandma and grandpa's house, and then we're gonna
Yeah.
go to your other grandma and grandpa's house, we're gonna get on a plane, we're gonna like do all these things, and like using that as like the excited stuff. And then like when you have to wait in line at the airport, it's like, I don't want to go to Alaska anymore, this is fucking boring. You know what I mean? And it's like you get on
Yeah.
the plane and it's like I can't get up and go places, or like when are we gonna take off? We're just sitting on the plane. Like what's going on? Like I don't want to
Forever.
go to
Yeah,
Alaska
yeah, yeah.
anymore.
And
You
then
know, and so
on our way out of Alaska,
hmm
there was like an abnormally long wait inside the airplane. Like
hmm
we had to wait for lots of planes to take off before us, and it was just like it was just fine. Like as an adult, you're just like, I mean, it is what it is. I don't care either way. But like as a kid, he was just like,
yeah,
are we flying? Are we there yet? Are we flying? Are we
yeah.
flying? Are we
So
there?
it's just like we set up a bunch of expectations and like didn't have a way to manage them because like you can't manage everything they're gonna think about it. So I feel like it's a good thing to do that, but like maybe just like right before, not where he has like 3 weeks of nights where he's just sitting there thinking, oh, what's that gonna be like? Yeah, like if I go to sleep tonight, that's one sleep closer to going to Alaska. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, why did we do that so much? And like I tried to stop so many times, and then I just find myself doing it and be like,
Yeah.
oh, can't take that one back now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and we
Yeah.
and there's still stuff we didn't even get to do with him because, like, for example, like we wanted to take him to Hot Licks,
The ice cream
But we were
place.
like, no, because every time we would like have time to take him to
Mm.
Hot Legs, or it would be too late.
It's a local ice cream place in
Oh,
Fairbanks.
sorry. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
local ice cream
For
place.
those of you
Yeah,
who aren't
sorry. My
there or
bad.
from
I don't
there.
know why I just assumed you all knew what it was. But
What does Hot Lick sound like to you? And where we would take a child.
that's a really good question that now I want to know the answer to. But yeah, and so we wanted to take him to go get ice cream. Never happened. It was too much sugar, and
With
he'd been
everything else
having
he'd been
sugar all
getting
the
the
time, and
days. By the time we'd get to that point, he'd be like, "There's no way we're taking him there. Like that's just not good for any of us."
no, and I can't think of anything else. We did take him on an airboat ride, and he saw some moose, and there were some geese in our yard.
If you don't know what an airboat is and that sounds weird, just look it up. There's people that I told that to you from here, and they're like, "What is an airboat?"
Oh,
I was like, "Basically, like an airplane engine with a propeller on the back, with a
yeah,
big enough base to like just cruise over land and marsh." So.
yeah. Yeah, you can like literally cruise over land, like marshy land.
We'll put
and
some pictures and videos on
yeah.
Instagram. I want to make a
We saw an owl. Oh my gosh, it was so cool.
yeah. I want to make a one of those like you know on TikTok they're using that sound from Bruno Mars, and like making like a photo collage.
Sure.
I know you're somewhere out there,
Oh,
somewhere
okay,
far
yeah.
away, and it's like I
Yeah,
want,
I get it.
and it's like whatever. I want to do that, but with our trip from Alaska,
Yeah.
and I'll put it on Instagram.
Okay. And then we went on some four-wheeling adventures.
Adventures.
Both I didn't go with Ollie. No, I did go with Ollie one time. So like they live like right by a river, and Jesse and his parents are like really, really like good about scaring the living bejesus out of him to
It's a
not go towards the
really
river.
fast, like glacier fed river that's like it doesn't really get that much colder than that. So it's like you fall in, and even an adult go like basically has a really high chance of going into shock.
Yeah, and
then, like,
well, he
drifting
did
down.
fall into a lake, actually, as it were. I really just, and we tried to ask him what he was thinking, but like, it's like, so we went fishing because he really wanted to go fishing, and his grandpa was with us, and we were like, okay, and he had like his like rain boots on, so they weren't like too like to like here or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, and out of freaking like he's talking to me, I'm like a little bit further away with Kai, and out of nowhere he just like takes off and runs towards the lake. I literally thought he was just gonna stop as soon as he
got to
like
it
got
and
to
like
it.
throw a rock or something.
Yeah, but he kept going, and we're like, "No, Ollie, wait!" And it was too late,
I was like,
and then
"It's
the
too
water
deep
filled
there."
his boots, and he like hit
And then he just
him.
like he like
Well,
ran
because
and
it
then he
hit him
like
how cold it was after the water hit his boots, and he couldn't really lift up his feet anymore because his boots were filled with water, and he face planted into the water.
which if any of you have ever like ran into water, like if you're running fast enough, your legs just like get stopped at a certain point and you fall for it. And
And
like
he
as
did,
a
and it was
3-year-old,
a
he's not gonna.
cold lake, and it was also very windy and cold that day.
And he had his rain jacket on.
He got
like
everything.
jeans.
So we had to go. Like
He
we
was
literally had
completely
just got
dripping,
there.
sopping wet. And so luckily I was wearing like a windbreaker.
Yeah.
So when I hugged him and like just my pants got wet here from his legs, just like, and his body just like dumping water onto me as I was like carrying him to the car, but everything else stayed dry.
Yeah.
He like, oh my gosh.
And then we like took his boots off and turned them over to like get the water out. Literally, like they were full to the brim with water.
It was hilarious.
But it was hilarious.
He
and afterwards,
he cried and he laughed and cried.
Yeah.
His sense of humor has grown since we've been there.
It has.
But the expectations of it all, and
and so we could and he was sad that we had to leave the lake, but literally like I hadn't planned for an extra rain jacket or boots, like which I should have, but I didn't, and we had extra clothes, so he was like nice and warm and dry, but we had to leave. I said we don't have boots, and you can't just be like all like barefoot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was very sad about that. Yeah, and also I don't know if anybody, well, if some of you have been to Alaska in the summer, you'll know, but the mosquitoes are lethal.
Mhm.
They're like huge. I have a picture, and it's literally like as big as my thumb. Um,
Like the nail of your
yeah,
thumb.
like my nail, and I'll post it, and well, I'll post like there'll be like 5 pictures. Um, but yeah, and uh, it was a beautiful trip, and I'm so glad we went.
Yeah.
Um, and I think overall it was nice. It was just exhausting.
Yeah.
Ugh, it was just exhausting, but it was like going home again, and I really loved it. Yeah.
Yeah. Um.
Also, like for our 10-month-old, literally there was nothing to keep him interested in the plane because like he's at that stage where he's throwing things on the ground to see what happens and have us pick them back up. But I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
if
You
he has a
told me.
toy and it falls on the ground on the plane or in the airport, like
Ugh.
we're like
I know.
definitely putting that in a plastic bag to like sanitize it in the dishwasher or something. Because we're not giving it back to him because he
Yeah.
puts it in his mouth and
Yeah.
then drops it again.
COVID
And
or
it's
no
like,
COVID.
yeah, COVID or no COVID. I
Like
mean, like
once you
just in
step into the
general.
airport, like every floor that you step on after that is like disgusting in my
Yeah,
mind.
yeah. And so, we didn't have anything to keep him entertained at all.
Yeah.
And so that was a struggle. Literally, all we could do was like jiggle him and like make cute noises at him and be
Yeah.
like, and
Like
talk,
lift
baby
him a
talk to
little
him
bit.
and lift him up.
That's true.
And it was just like, that was exhausting
I
when he
couldn't
was
imagine
awake.
taking a longer trip with him at this age.
No.
Like from like Seattle to London with Kai being a year and a half. It's like
Oh my
so
goodness.
many legs to that trip.
Yeah.
If you go from like here to like Chicago or here to New York or here to Chicago to New York
Yeah.
and then London,
Yeah.
like I couldn't imagine doing that with kids
Yeah.
at this age. Like even when they're a little bit older, but at least then like if Kai's 3 and Ollie's 5, like they'll
That
be
would be better.
self-sufficient enough
Yeah.
to like sleep in the airports, in the
Oh my
lounges, like
goodness, I'm
eat
sorry, I'm
food with
yawning.
us at the tables,
Yeah.
at the diners and places that are in the airport, and
Yeah.
like
And
they'd
the
be
pubs. Just
exhausted
kidding.
and they'd be
Just kidding.
exhausted and like fatigued, and then we'd probably just spend a day relaxing at the
Hotel.
hotel,
Yeah.
but it's doable. But right
Yeah.
now, I'd be
Yeah.
like, we'd have to like
No, I
stop
don't
in
want
New
to do that.
York and go to like an airport hotel, and then and then once we were
You know
feeling
what? You're
sane
right.
enough, get back on to go to the next
Some people
stop.
just handle parenting a lot better than us, I think, too. But
That's true.
and like if you need to do that, if that's something that's like, you're being moved over for work or whatever, like
You make it work.
you make it work.
Like yeah,
But if you're doing it like just for
for
fun and
leisure.
leisure, that's not leisurely
That's not on
fun.
us. That's for us. It's not leisurely
No,
at this
no,
point.
no. And so,
Um,
yeah, I mean, I couldn't. I think 3 hours, 3.5, 3 hours. That's like the limit. That's my limit
yeah,
for
I
being
would.
on a
I
plane with them.
agree. I agree.
At this age, at this stage that they're in, because
I just yeah.
it was rough.
I
Ugh.
can't imagine.
I'm yawning so much. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but I've been yawning a lot too.
I hope that we're making you yawn. It's late. It's late for us. It must be late if you're like in a different like.
Unless people are
Unless
listening to
you're
this in the
like-
future, and it could be like 8 in the morning.
That's true. Well, I hope I made you yawn. Just kidding. I don't know. But yeah. What else about the trip did you?
I think I don't know. I think it's just the whole situation was overwhelming for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and so like I don't necessarily think overwhelm is like a bad thing, but it's something that like as a parent, if you notice it, like being able to help them get over that,
Mm-hmm.
like in a new place on a different sleep schedule, going to a park that has like 20 kids and like a park that's like bigger than you've ever seen before, you know what I mean? And like I felt like they were like there was definitely moments where they acted like they were like concussed just from like overwhelm, you know what I mean? Um
Yeah. Yeah.
and so like noticing that and then like taking a minute and like
Yeah.
having them sit with you and not like forcing them to sit with you, but like, hey, like look at this grass, or like, do you want to look at the clouds really quick and see like if you can find anything in the clouds, like just like focused moments to
Hmm.
like allow them to like take a breath. um
You said something earlier, and I did kind of want to talk about that a little bit more. You said, like as parents, like and humans in general, like we're always like constantly growing and learning. But I think you said that after this trip, like you grew a little bit more in a specific
mm.
way.
Mm-hmm.
In regard, like your parent self grew in regards to a specific subject you were talking about.
Yeah, I think. Excuse me.
Remember?
Jeff.
Like,
I've definitely been the more lenient parent, and it's really hard for me to set boundaries. Well, not like really hard, but I take longer setting them because I try to find ways to do it nicely, or ways to do it that don't cause like stress or tension, or like. But then like I think witnessing your parents and my parents do that for them, and like they've always done it and I've always done it, but like for some reason witnessing them do that specifically in Alaska with my parents, of like everything's a workaround, like I realized like that means he always, even if you're planting a seed that makes him do what you want him to do, he always thinks that he's winning. You know what I mean? And like I like in a way that it's like he never experiences struggle or like compromise, or you know what I mean? And like I think that's one of the thoughts that I had, and it just made me realize like I'm not really doing him a favor by not setting boundaries. And I know certain boundaries I already knew that about, but just like in general, like it should be good enough for me to say no sometimes. And for me to understand that like even if he tries to question it, if I'm just like no, like it doesn't matter why. Like like it doesn't matter why I'm saying no, or that you want this and you can't have it. Like there's a reason, and I'll tell you those reasons normally, but sometimes I'm just going to say no, and I can't be your friend like right now. Like we're in a store and you're like shoving like 10 things in a cart and like trying to rush the cart down the aisle by yourself. Like no, like you're going to hit somebody. I don't need to explain that to you. Like I've already explained it to you, cuz in my logic when I normally am like saying, "Oh, we shouldn't do that because like here are the things that happen." And I'm like, I think that's good that I always give rationale to an extent, but like in and of itself it's a supplement to setting a boundary.
hmm
Like and like I don't know if that makes sense.
I guess I got confused because I do think that that we like it's okay to give them like your reasoning.
Yeah,
But
I'm
you
not
were like sometimes
necessarily.
I don't have to give them a reason and that should be good enough. And I don't think that's
But not
true necessarily.
like
Like I
maybe I
feel
said
like
that wrongly, but it's like go ahead.
well, I
Like
just feel
yeah.
like it's okay. I think that it's a good thing to give them a reason
Mhm.
sometimes, just to be like, if he wants a marshmallow and it's like 10 o'clock at night and you don't want to give a reason, just say like, "Oh, I don't think we have any," and that's it. Like you don't have to say like no, and then not say anything. You
Uh-huh.
know what I'm saying?
I've also been trying to lie to them less. And I know they're like white lies, and it's not like lying, but like if you have them and you say you don't have them, but then he finds them. Like he's at an age where he can make logical deductions.
Or
You know what I
like
mean? But I
I
mean,
see what you're saying,
and
but also
we both
like
do that, and I'm sure a
like you
lot of
can say like
parents
they're sleeping
do.
right now.
He's
That's
starting to
like
get
our
over
go-to.
that. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like he's getting smart enough to where my reasonings for the times where I'm exhausted and don't want to give a good reason, like not because there isn't one, but it's like I don't need to have this conversation right now. So I'll just say they're sleeping. He's like, it's like 8 in the morning. Like, what are you talking about? You mean like, and I just feel like I'm like that was another thing that happened in Alaska. Cause I realized he's starting like he's asking like he's able to like logically see things clearly, and I think that sometimes he actually knows when we're lying, but like understands why a little bit, and so just goes with it in a weird way. Like
Or he's just like, that's what they say when they're not going to give it to me,
yeah,
and
or
then he
like
just
that
like
part
goes
of
on with his
like
life.
yeah, I don't know.
I mean, but it's fine. I feel like it's fine that like that. And if he were to ever question it, or when he starts getting like more and more to the point where he's like, wait a second, like
Uh-huh.
marshmallows don't need to sleep. They're not living things.
That's where
Or
he's getting
whatever.
to.
Right? Well, then just say like,
Yeah.
"Oh, honey, I know. Like, I wish that you could have some, but it's so late to have sugar right now, and sugar is not gonna make your tummy feel good at this late time of
Mhm.
night."
And I
And
feel
that's it.
yeah,
And if
okay,
he's
but
like, "But I really want one," well, I just told you why,
yeah.
and it's still gonna be no.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like you
Yeah.
told him why.
Yeah, and I like again like I think I just said that wrong. Like I
Okay.
always explain my rationale, but like
But you don't
he
have to keep explaining it. Like
and
once you've
yeah,
explained it, you're at the
exactly.
point where you can just be like, "I already told you why."
And it's not normally like he'll be like why and I say this and he says why and I say this and he says why and like it's not like a why question line. It's just like I don't like I want to do this or like I can do this because this and it's like no it like no you can't. I told you why this isn't a good idea. You're not hearing that or understanding why.
Mm-hmm.
Like that makes sense, but just it's a no. Like I'm setting this boundary.
Yeah.
Um like with again like with chocolate, with like sweets, and with his binky, I'm not just like let's take it away cold turkey and let him cry it out for 10 days. I'm like let me think of a strategic way that I can do this as to the best of my ability, and then
That Binky Fairy thing is actually from I've heard that before. I don't know who
uh
originated it, but I saw it on Super Nanny.
sweet. Yeah, I just
Yeah,
looked it up
where
on
you tell
YouTube.
them
Yeah,
that like there's a fairy Binky who when they reach a certain age and the
a
fairy
binky
Binky
fairy.
comes, a
Yeah,
Binky Fairy,
a fairy binky.
whatever, and and comes and like takes the Binkies away, and you can say they take them to other little kids or whatever you want to say is
Uh-huh.
your prerogative, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and then that way it's like, and this day the Binky Fairy is coming to take
So
all
it's
the
like a countdown
pacifiers.
to that day.
Yeah.
And then I combine that, like we haven't done it yet, but I'm combining that with a a goodbye Binky party. So like it's like because this is like his only emotional support, and he
It's
uses
true.
it
And
for
we've
naps
tried to give
and
him other emotional supports,
for
but
nighttime. And I really haven't found any good ideas other than stuffed animals for like an emotional support replacement.
we can get him a puppy.
No. But then I was also thinking like I'm really interested to see how this goes because it's like we're not turning back, and that's the thing. Like before, if like he cried for 3 days, I would be like, there has to be another way. Like let's give it back and try it again. But I'm like, no, like we're doing everything we can, and this has to happen sooner or later. And I'm really interested in what emotions are going to come up and how difficult it's going to be
Mm-hmm.
and how he's going to get through it, and we'll find a way to help him get through it. And like if it looks like he's having emotional difficulty, I'll take days off of work, like like because for whatever reason, like this he's really attached to his binkies, and whatever comes up from that, like that's going to be really big stuff. It's going to be like really core stuff, and he can't have it back. Like it's not good for his
It's
body.
gonna kill us. It's gonna
Yeah, I
kill
know.
us seeing like how sad he's gonna be.
Yeah, and it for probably most of it, he's not going to be able to like like consciously or comprehensively or whatever like tell us why he or what he's feeling. It's just going to be like shit spewing emotions, and he's probably going to be mad for a few days, and he might regress in his potty training. Like he might not eat well and start like grabbing things and like throwing things like and develop other things because of this. Like we
Yeah.
and that's why it's like
Yeah.
we have to be there for this.
Yeah.
I think it's like it is that important.
Mhm.
But I'm not going back. Like he just can't have it. Like whereas before, like you know what I mean. Like it would have been a lot harder for me to say that. But it's like we have a plan. It's a really gentle, like loving plan, and that's all we can do. Like, and sometimes as parents, you just have to do really hard things. You know
Oh.
what I mean? And
Yeah.
like, and this isn't even gonna be the hardest thing we do. But I'd like, we're really sensitive to their emotions and their needs. And so like I'm sure we could just be like, yeah, whatever, suck it up, and like he'd still be a functioning human being later in life. But like if we can optimize or like make those things like not just something that they're like getting through, but something they're like thriving through, um,
Mhm.
and like somehow provide that environment, which like oftentimes in the moment we can do. Like that's what I want to do for this situation.
Yeah.
Um, but like he can't have it anymore. Like it's just black and white. And so I think things are just a lot more black and white for me seeing how my parents engage with Ollie, and I'm like, wow, like that's me. And it's like he like takes a toy from Kai and it's like, oh well, here's another toy. You know what I mean? Like to Kai. And like
Mhm.
it's like
I'm getting
I
to the
know, yeah.
point where like slowly like it was okay for a little bit like when Kai was barely starting to
And he
get
was
into
getting used to
toys
Kai
and getting used
and
to Kai and everything and it would be like okay we'll just give him another toy and it's fine. But now I'm at the point where like when they're together and he takes the toy I'm like Kai had that toy first and yeah, I know that you really want to play with it, but you need to play with another toy until
mhm.
Kai's done playing with it.
Yeah. And before I'd be like, oh buddy, like when he's older, like he's gonna play you guys are gonna play so good together and like for now, like could you just like find a different toy and give that back to him, please? And he'd be like, I want to play with this one. Like, oh my god, okay, well, let's work on a different skill. Well, could you at least find him a different toy then? You know what I mean? It's like I would like bypass that conversation and just like give in, but now it's like, no. Like I don't even feel like I have to do that anymore. It's just like,
Like this trip changed him to the core, guys.
yeah.
You don't even know. tomorrow, tomorrow's his full day with them.
I'm
He's
so excited.
I'm gonna start working on editing, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be his first full day with them.
In our schedule. I've had full days with them before.
Like
They're like,
full
yeah.
days. When?
I mean, they're not like they're few and far in between, but
When
sometimes they
was the
happen.
last time
I
you
don't
had a
know.
full day?
When was the last time you had a full day with both of them?
When indeed.
It's been at least 2 weeks.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
I'm looking forward to it just to see like the things that come out of it for you and for them.
yeah.
Like it's gonna be. I'm
I think
really
I'm gonna
interested
take
in
them
it.
somewhere. I don't know where.
I was gonna ask you if you had figured out like because when we were talking about like our new schedule and like giving me um, time to like start editing like the podcasts and the streams and everything, I would like he said that
Mhm.
he was gonna plan out all of his like stay at home parent days and they're gonna be out and
And like
everything.
activities at home, even like have like a really cool thing set up at home. It's
Hmm.
different. Like I don't know, just yeah. Especially because like for me, it's only a day and a half, plus our like dual parenting days. But like by
Hmm.
myself, a day and a half. I'm like the half
Hmm.
day, we can just chill, like do something fun inside
Hmm.
or in the backyard. But I'm like, I think tomorrow is Ollie's first full day here at the house to play with
Hmm.
his toys,
Hmm.
so we can probably stay here and find enough to do inside and outside. I definitely am gonna strap Kai in and mow the backyard because it's too big
When?
during the
Oh,
day.
the backyard. Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Um, I think that'll be fine.
okay. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, but then maybe next week I want to. I know that like Ollie, we're not buying Ollie any more toys for a very long time. I even told Ollie, I was like, bro, I'm getting you one this time because this was an
And the
off
Binky
thing.
toy,
A binky toy.
the Binky fairy toy.
Yeah. But so that's what I'm saying. There's enough other reasons we get them toys than when he just wants one. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I'm like, you can get a toy this time, but just know next time we go to the store, you're not getting anything. Like you can come, but you're not getting anything. Like I need you to hear me. Like remember this moment.
Yeah.
And it's just like he doesn't need anything else. And
He really doesn't.
there's gonna be reasons where we're like, oh, this is a good reason to get him something new or get him something like add on to this or whatever. Like, but like we can choose those moments, and it'll be like a really nice special thing.
I do want to say that normally it's this guy that comes home after taking
Hold
Ollie
on a
with the
sec.
store to the store. I've
Hold
done
on.
it. I've done it. I'm not saying I haven't,
The
but I'm
last
just
time you
saying
took him to the store,
normally.
you were like, "Oh, Jay, I see what you like. I see what you mean." And she came home with like four things. I never come home with more than one.
I didn't come home with four
You
things.
did. You're like, I bought this, and then I wanted it for Ollie, and then I also bought Ollie this because he wanted it, and then I bought this thing for Kai. That was like three things. But
I'm kind of like he wasn't even at the store. How could he have picked something?
yeah, I
You
know.
know?
No, but I like. Yeah, I'm.
Plus, we buy Ollie
What
so
were we
many
even
things. I
talking
thought
about?
like I
Oh.
I should get something for
How
Kai.
did that subject come up? I forgot what I was saying.
Boundaries and like saying no, like without
No, but
having
there
to
was
like
more specific. That I can think about.
that he already has toys. I don't know. I don't know how we got here.
Because there was a point, and it's
What
gonna be a
the-
long wraparound.
It's one
Yeah.
of those days. Um, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see how you do tomorrow for sure.
That's what I was gonna say. So what I'm gonna do next Thursday is like we're gonna go to Burger
Go to a
King.
splash pad.
Like we could do that. I was gonna go to Burger King and get them um like Happy Meals.
That's a toy. Okay, go on.
That's what I'm saying. Like we don't want to buy him toys anymore, but if he wants something, it's like a cool like little thing. He doesn't even like them that much. So what I'm gonna do is they'll be like our outside play toys. So like, so then I'll probably take them. Oh, Ferndale High School is open, isn't it? I was gonna say to like the big open
Field, and
field
then do
area,
what
and just
there?
like hang out with them there
Oh,
and
well,
let them
there's
run
lots of
around on
big
balls
fields.
and stuff.
Yeah, you can
Where?
go.
Where is it? I mean, there's one in like Linden or Blaine.
Cornwall has one at the Cornwall Park.
It's not
Sorry, you
that's
guys
not a
don't know.
huge
This is like
park.
specific. We'll find one. I'm sure
Yeah.
we know people that.
But anyways,
know where they are.
and like have kind of like a picnic day with them there.
He
That-
loves picnics.
Yeah.
I know where you can go.
And then all like Kai can just crawl around on the grass.
He does that. He eats
Chill.
dirt and grass, so be careful.
Yeah. He eats grass too.
Yeah.
I just saw him like trying to get rocks.
Oh,
And
he
stuff.
likes to try to shove it all in his mouth as fast as.
And
he
there's so
can
many
do.
parks we can take Ollie to while I just like have Kai strapped in.
Yeah.
You really can't do much with Kai. He just kind of is there.
You can put him in a swing. He likes swings.
That's true.
You can slide him down the slide,
Yeah.
but not by himself.
Oh yeah, Ollie wasn't doing that yet either at one
Mhm.
ish, like before one.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, tomorrow with them I want to bake peanut butter cookies. So I might go to the store with them, get almond flour.
Get chickpea flowers. You don't have to hear all this.
And
You're
some
like,
other stuff. No, but I'm just telling you what
welcome
I'm doing with them on my
Yeah.
on my
Oh my gosh,
big day.
guys. Like, I feel like a new person, like a new stay at home parent after this trip. I don't know what it is, but like, I also feel like it changed me in the sense that when we came back, I was like, let's do all of these meal plans. And by goodness, I've sort of kept up with it. And it's only day 2. But I made cauliflower buffalo bites. Yes, I did. I did.
Yeah, in her air fryer.
Yes, I did. And
What
they
did
were
I-
delicious. I made them before we left, and I've been
Yeah.
dreaming about them since then, and they did not disappoint. But also, like, I
They're really
have a
good.
plan, and I'm like so excited to see it
Master
through.
plan.
And the days are getting super prettier, and I feel a lot more confident, like taking both of them out together. And so, like, I'm ready. I'm ready for my stay-at-home days with them, and
Yeah.
we're gonna do stuff. We're gonna go out. I'm gonna put the sprinkler on in the back. Like, it's gonna be fun times ahead.
Yeah. It's a summer.
Yeah.
I want to go to
Yeah.
the Woodland Park Zoo so
I
bad.
do too.
But the day is rainy when we could potentially go soon. So
Yeah. Yeah.
probably
We'll
rainy.
see.
We'll see
Yeah,
how it
we'll
goes.
see.
Because we went to a different zoo.
Go on.
Oh, that's funny. We went to a different zoo, and Ollie's really into Madagascar right now. And so,
Don't do it.
what?
Don't do what you were gonna do.
What?
Don't do what
No,
you
I'm
were
not gonna do
okay,
the
okay,
voices.
okay. Don't.
He makes me do all of the people's voices.
Yeah, he does. He makes us all do different. Like I cannot be the Madagascar people. He tells me. He says no. Daddy is the Madagascar people, but he can't be the My Little Ponies. So
But like all of the animals in Madagascar, except for lemurs, were not at the zoo that we went to. So he'd be like, "Where's Melman?" I'd be like, "He's not at this one, bro. He's on vacation with Alex and them."
mm-hmm.
So it's just, I want to go. I don't know what that had to do with anything.
Yeah. Oh, well, because it's something that he's interested in.
Yeah,
He loves it. He loves Melman. I think Melman might be his favorite.
I think so.
Only because he's the one that he always talks about. Even if maybe he's not like Melman and King Julian are his favorite.
Yeah, King Julian. You just got to look her right in the eye and tell her. Sorry. Anyways, so
Don't have her.
I think I need like a thing that's like a stopwatch for an hour on our streams and podcasts because otherwise I know when we started the thing that says we're about to go live,
Yeah.
but I don't know the exact time that it's been. But it is 9:01.
But we're
go ahead. You go ahead.
so just to like round up this weird podcast session.
That's what I was gonna do is like summarize.
Oh, I was just gonna
You're not
say
gonna round it out.
thanks for listening.
So we're
on
not
to
gonna
this.
summarize it before you end it. Great, great to all you people in your car listening to this.
Go ahead, summarize it.
In summary, we went to Alaska. The plane ride recommendations are mornings for sanity of everybody involved. Grandparents have different parenting styles and therefore different rule sets, and usually don't have houses as baby proofed as the ones you're used to where you can relax during traumatic situations. Just traveling long distances with toddlers is not really our idea of leisure.
No.
But there were definitely highlights to the trip, and we'll talk more about like maybe the trip next time, like the actual
That's the kind of trip I was looking for.
like the actual things we did with them and like how they liked Alaska specifically.
Yeah.
But yeah. So now take it away with your rounding abouts.
I was just gonna say thanks for listening in with us, and we sure had a blast. Sometimes it was tipsy, sometimes it was tipsy turvy.
Yeah, that's right.
Turvy.
Turvy.
Is it turvy or
It's turvy. Yeah, TUVR.
but we made it, and maybe we'll have our
Fine, I don't know.
brains more intact next time.
Probably not though. If we're being honest. Though I was so nervous. That our like time change would mean that we wouldn't even be able to podcast or game anymore because it'd be from like 9 p.m. to 11. And there's no way we're staying up to 11 when they get up at 6. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I just kind of thought.
Yeah, no, but it's fine.
But
Look,
they've been doing
fine.
amazing.
I'm fine. We're fine. Everything's fine. Okay, we're fine.